Hey, welcome to World Code Updates. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. The news broke like a thunderclap. Beijing has accepted Taipei's peace proposal. For decades, the Taiwan Strait was a global flashpoint, the site of a potential great power conflict. Now, against all odds, confrontation has given way to cooperation. The Orchid Blossom Initiative, proposed by Taiwan, is a bold plan few believed possible. Chinese state media, once filled with threats, now cautiously explains the deal's merits. Taiwanese officials speak of a new beginning, no longer living under the shadow of invasion. The agreement's details are still emerging, but sources confirm it includes demilitarization, economic integration, and a new framework for dialogue. This single act has redrawn Asia's geopolitical map. The world's leaders are scrambling to understand the implications. In Taipei, citizens gather in hope and disbelief. In Beijing, the public processes a monumental shift. For millions, this is deeply personal, their futures and identities tied to this relationship. Tonight, for the first time in years, peace seems within reach. The world is watching, waiting to see what comes next. The impossible has happened. This is a story of a gamble that paid off. The atmosphere is a mix of shock, relief, and anxiety. Historians will study this moment for generations. This agreement shatters decades of entrenched policy and assumptions. The world believed the China-Taiwan issue was unsolvable, a war waiting to happen. Military plans and billions spent on deterrence are now obsolete. Beijing's One China principle and Taiwan's fierce sovereignty seem irreconcilable. Yet the Orchid Blossom Initiative has created space for dialogue where none existed. Tensions had been escalating with near-daily military maneuvers. Suddenly, both sides have stepped back from the brink. For the international community, it's both a relief and a challenge. The immediate threat of catastrophic war has receded, but uncertainty remains. The US and its allies must now adapt to a new reality. Alliances, strategies, and deployments all hinge on this shift. The old playbook is gone. The world must navigate a future where adversaries are now partners. This is a geopolitical plot twist no one saw coming. To grasp the significance, we must look back to the Chinese Civil War. In 1949, the nationalists fled to Taiwan, claiming to be China's legitimate government. The communists established the People's Republic on the mainland. For decades, the two sides existed in suspended conflict, separated by the Taiwan Strait. The US initially recognized Taiwan, providing aid and military support. The 1970s brought change, Nixon's visit to China, and the US recognizing Beijing in 1979. The Taiwan Relations Act kept US support for Taiwan's defense, creating strategic ambiguity. Taiwan evolved into a vibrant democracy, deepening the divide with the mainland. Its people increasingly identified as Taiwanese, not Chinese, unacceptable to Beijing. China responded with economic incentives and military threats, maintaining a tense status quo. Under Xi Jinping, China's assertiveness grew, with military modernization and deadlines for reunification. Taiwan, backed by the US, bolstered its defenses. The island became a symbol of democracy versus autocracy. Many believed confrontation was inevitable, until today. The stage was set for conflict, but history has taken a different turn. This moment rewrites decades of tension. The Orchid Blossom Initiative is more than a ceasefire, it's a blueprint for transformation. The orchid, a symbol cherished in both cultures, sets the tone for reconciliation. The plan rests on three pillars: security, economy, and politics. Security: phased demilitarization of the strait with China pulling back forces and Taiwan limiting its military. A joint crisis hotline and verification mechanism aim to prevent accidental clashes. Taiwan keeps a defensive force, the US adapts its support role. Economy: a cross-strait economic cooperation zone, lowering trade barriers and fostering joint ventures. A shared infrastructure fund invests in both sides, making conflict costly for all. Politics: the initiative sidesteps the sovereignty debate. Beijing keeps its One China principle. Taipei retains self-governance. A transitional framework for dialogue creates a permanent forum for talks. Both sides agree not to change the political status for 50 years. This peace clause offers stability and time for a new generation to find lasting solutions. The plan doesn't solve everything, but it buys peace and hope. It's a constructive pause, not a final answer. The Orchid Blossom Initiative is a masterstroke of creative diplomacy. Why did Beijing agree now? The answer lies in internal and external pressures. China's economy faces headwinds, slowing growth, property crisis, and high unemployment. War over Taiwan would be ruinous, risking sanctions and social unrest. Internationally, China's assertiveness has triggered a regional backlash. The US has strengthened alliances. Japan and others are rearming. The war in Ukraine showed that smaller forces with support can resist larger aggressors. Beijing may have realized a quick victory was unlikely. The Orchid Blossom Initiative offers a face-saving exit, preserving core claims while pausing conflict. The 50-year framework lets China claim patience, not retreat. The plan's focus on shared heritage and prosperity fits Beijing's narrative. Leadership dynamics matter. Some in the Communist Party may prefer pragmatism over risk. Xi Jinping can now claim the mantle of peacemaker, not conqueror. The decision is a calculated gamble for stability and legacy. For China, peace may be the best path forward. The world's capitals are abuzz with cautious optimism and skepticism. Washington welcomes de-escalation, but faces new challenges in Asia. Japan is relieved but wary of a China-Taiwan alignment shifting the balance of power. South Korea sees a model for dialogue. Europe hails diplomacy's triumph. For Europe, the deal averts economic catastrophe and validates engagement. Some Eastern European nations worry about legitimizing Beijing's influence. Australia welcomes peace but stresses a rules-based order. Southeast Asia breathes easier, no longer forced to choose sides. Russia is silent, reassessing its partnership with China. For all, this is a geopolitical earthquake. Alliances and strategies are in flux. The deal lowers the temperature but raises new questions. The world is recalibrating its stance. Hope and uncertainty now coexist. The ground beneath global politics has shifted. With the shock fading, the world asks, what's next? The Orchid Blossom Initiative is just the beginning. The best-case scenario: genuine integration, lasting peace, and shared prosperity. Demilitarization proceeds, economic zones flourish, and political dialogue builds trust. A new generation grows up in peace, old grievances fade, and sovereignty becomes less explosive. Perhaps a novel arrangement, Commonwealth or Confederation, emerges. But there's a darker scenario: the agreement breaks down. Hardliners sabotage progress, a military incident shatters trust, and old mistrust resurfaces. The deal could collapse, making things worse than before. A third path: cold peace. Military confrontation ends, but true reconciliation remains elusive. Economic cooperation continues, but suspicion lingers. The sovereignty issue stays frozen. This is better than war, but short of transformation. The future will likely blend all three scenarios, a struggle between hope and history. The world must nurture this fragile peace. The next chapter is unwritten. The China-Taiwan agreement sends shockwaves worldwide. The immediate impact: a massive peace dividend for the global economy. The risk of war disrupting supply chains and markets is gone, boosting confidence. Taiwan's semiconductor supply is now more secure. US military posture in Asia must be rethought. What's the new mission? Alliances are tested. Japan and South Korea may seek more independence. Security architecture in Asia is in flux. Diplomatically, the deal could inspire solutions for other conflicts, like Korea or Kashmir. It's a victory for creative, patient diplomacy. Some see it as declining US influence. Others see regional actors taking charge. The global competition of ideas is complicated. Democracy and autocracy have found common ground. Taiwan's smart diplomacy shows strength without war. The debate over values continues, but the narrative is now more complex. The Orchid Blossom Initiative is a new model for peace. This agreement is a beginning, not an end. Implementation will be tough. Decades of mistrust won't vanish overnight. Hardliners on both sides will resist change. Leaders in Beijing and Taipei must show courage and political will. Demilitarization and economic integration will face real tests. The international community, especially the US, must support peace without dictating terms. Allies need reassurance. China's intentions must be watched. America's role in Asia is evolving. Despite challenges, a path to peace has opened. For Taiwan, the fear of invasion lifts. For China, the threat of war recedes. The world is safer, if only for now. This is a moment of hope, a reminder that the future is unwritten. The Orchid Blossom Initiative is a fragile seedling, but it could grow into a towering tree of peace.